How's the day going?
Day's been good, man. Just doing some sketches. I have this show that I'm actually going to paint live at next week at Contemporary Calgary. So I'm kind of just doing some planning for once and going to make it a nice little performance.
It's not what you feel and just let your emotions go. You got to plan this one.
This one, I think, yeah, like I know what the energy is going to be like. So I want to go in there and kind of match the energy. So I have a couple little characters and stuff that I'm planning on and doing at the show. And this one was a plan, for sure, a plan.
Yeah. And when you go to Contemporary Calgary, is it for sale, the art, or is it you have to?
Yeah, this one will probably be for sale for sure. I'm not planning on really selling it at that time. I think it's the amount of DJs that they have going, and it's my friend Justin Pollock that's putting it on.
Nice.
It's just to match the energy and being in that building, being in Contemporary Calgary. It's fitting to just, I guess, match the energy with like between music and art. They're both hand in hand, like they're both languages. So I think it'll be for sure a very unique experience for those attending, for sure.
Absolutely. And you just had something recently at Dark Arts. Was it over the weekend or is it coming up? I saw a post. I think you might have had a last painting, or you're doing something recently.
Yeah, I always kind of seem to think I have something going on. Yeah, so like I have some works that are off to Asia right now.
Yeah, Leaving the Nightmare can be seen Dark Arts this month and this month only.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, I have so many different series. Yeah, so I just wrapped up my series Leaving the Nightmare. That's a series that I'm going to show at the Dark Arts, and it's going to be there probably until the end of this month. And then if the works don't sell, I'll put them in storage, or I'll send them off to one of the galleries to put on the walls. That whole series is about me still going through those transitions and getting myself back to feeling grounded and being able to move forward in life free of those nightmares that are still kind of lingering. So I wanted to take what was happening still in my sleep and I wanted to put it on canvas once again and revisit those dreams and see if it was going to help me let go. And that's exactly what happened. The works that I was creating at first were called The Nightmare because I didn't feel like I was getting out of it. I just felt like I was having the same dreams and I was just being haunted by it, and I wasn't being able to move forward from it. And my sleep's never good anyways, but I don't think a lot of us sleep good. But I definitely started putting that onto canvas this time once again, and I came up with a series that's all black and red with a very minimal amount of white, and they're very abstract. Some of the works are about reaching out, even if it's like almost like a paralysis thing, or that I found my purpose in those dreams, and that was to once again put it on canvas and express it and let it go. And so I left the nightmare.
When you look at these canvases, what do you hope that someone else sees? Is it the nightmare itself, or is it the transition from the brain to the canvas and releasing whatever it is that has happened?
Yeah, I think it's going to invoke exactly what it's meant to for each person, which I think all artwork will do. I think with the title, it helps guide the viewer to what they're looking at. But I do find that a title is exactly, sorry, the title is the guide, but when people are looking at it and they're gazing at the work, they might be able to find a correlation. They might be able to find a connection with their own self-reflection. So that's kind of that purpose. Those works are very, very raw. They're very heavy. Black and red it's so minimal with like the color palette. It's just blunt. It's very truthful. You can't hide between any other colors. Like it's in your face. So I feel like this is a very loud series as far as it's in your face, and it's calling to you with not only with the title, but it's calling to you with the way I've splashed the paint, the way I've drugged the paint across the canvas. and I'm reaching out in these pieces, and I just want to call on other people when they're gazing at these. Find that moment of reflection. I think that so many of us run from internally looking at ourselves and reflecting on our own lives, especially the hardships. And with this work in particular, I want us to call on that. I want us to look at that and free yourself, leave that stuff behind. So this leaving the nightmare is a very, very heavy body of work, but it's something that all of us are going through. Every single one of us goes through. And I just want to provide a moment to confront those things that we're maybe holding on to.
How do you face fears when it's scary? Being a man, being a woman, I don't care how tough someone thinks they are. We're all human beings, and we all, like you said, all have issues. We all have to face something, our inner demons, but oftentimes we do run away from it, or we put it in a box and we leave it because we're afraid to open it and receive those emotions, those feelings, and deal with things. How did you find ways to say, I need to do this, because if I don't, this is the path I'm going to be on?
With this, man, I was in such a lost state of mind. Like there was points where I just wanted to like end my life, or because I just felt like, first of all, when I made the transition out of being a gang member and made that decision that I was done, not only was that like a decision that potentially puts me in danger, but it was also a position that left me having no clue who I was. Mm-hmm. I no longer had an identity. And because I also I never graduated high school, because I was no longer in sports, I was out of contact with so many friends, my family. I had no identity, and my expression was mediums of like art and poetry, but I didn't want to explore those anymore because I felt so defeated. And I just remember kind of laying back and sitting back and saying to myself, like, what am I going to do? What is my purpose? How am I going to get myself out of this? And yeah, I ended up waking up that next day, and I ended up wanting to paint again.
That's amazing.
And I found myself realizing that painting is my way of speaking. That's my way of finding purpose and reason in this life. I think it's that's for sure it.
Did you know you're going to go down this path, or you're like, I'm going to get in trouble, I'm going to be with people I shouldn't be with, or do things I shouldn't be doing? And then what was that moment in your life where you said, I want to pivot, I want to change my life, this is not a good place where I want to be, Kale, I don't want to be here anymore, where do I want to be? And how did you do that?
Yeah, my
super cool, man.
Thanks. Yeah, my pivot for sure was one night when we were going to actually made the decision that we were going to kill another gang member. And that was a moment that thankfully we couldn't get to where we were going. There was a heck of a blizzard, and that stopped us from being able to get where we were intending to go to carry this out. And I remember in that moment, that was when like the veil was lifted. That was when this was real. That's when I realized there's nothing to hide from anymore. Like if I would have done that, I would have been gone. I would have been lost. There just would have been no coming back from that. That was that moment where like I realized that I need to change. Yeah. This is not who I am. This is not who Kale is. This is not who my brothers see me as, not who my mother and father see me as. It was so that was the moment where my eyes really opened up.
Yeah. When you look at your art, has it evolved through the years, and you're drawn to cartoons, which I do love, from our childhood. Mm-hmm. How did that come about for you?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks. My art has for sure evolved. There's I think just for myself, like as artists, we're constantly evolving, and I think we won't evolve into, I don't know how we're going to find that artist we're supposed to be, but we're continuously evolving, or we need to evolve in order to create great work, and in order to find out who we are as people. It's our moment to realize like this journey in life that we're on, and like each step of the way, like who we have become through this like body of work. And it's, for me, I realized that as I was on this journey, my work continues to change. It's because I'm going into these ever-changing surroundings, meeting different people, putting myself in different situations, accepting new things about me, accepting those faults. And one thing I realized was, as I was creating this work, my abstract is, I'm an abstract artist, but I didn't want to be put in a box and have that be what I'm only known for, because there's a certain connection and there's a certain demographic that abstract art connects with. And I know cartoons were one of those artistic mediums that, or words escaping me right now, but it was one of those mediums of art that speak to a lot more people. Everybody can connect to a cartoon. And I remember going into like wanting to do my first series, which I titled, can I swear?
Yes, you can. Totally.
that I titled Fuck You.
Yeah.
And
can't you see my shirt? Fuck cancer.
Oh yeah, there we go. My screen has paint all over it, man.
Oh.
So hard to see.
Life of an artist.
Yeah, it's so bad. And I remember that conversation. There was a little bit of worry and hesitation from my current representation, where they were like, Kale, you're an abstract artist. I really don't know if you should do this. And, like with respect, I was like, like I absolutely respect that opinion, but this is a direction that I got to go. I took some iconic cartoon characters, and I added some text into them. And I wanted to talk about subjects such as depression, leads into suicide. I wanted to talk about heartbreak. I wanted to talk about love. I wanted to talk about money. I wanted to talk about friendship.
Talked about NFTs.
Pardon?
I think one of yours said no NFTs.
Oh, yeah, those are a new body of work, and they're called the Headless Collection, where it's all like the Dead Apes, the Bored Yacht 8 Club.
Yeah.
I think that's it. And I'll probably do a bit more of those. And yeah, when I went into it, I wanted to just do this and have like a fun little twist on some cartoon characters and make it fun, but like talk about serious stuff. And it ended up paying off. I ended up selling every single work out of that 12 work series, and I ended up having an absolutely incredible show. I ended up having beautiful conversations. And honest to God, it just brought me to that next evolution of me being an artist. And I'm now back to my abstract stuff, because I think I found my purpose within the cartoon works. But if I wouldn't have had that opportunity to take that chance in that style of art, I don't think I would have found my love for abstract like I have again.
Oh, for sure. You start thinking about art as a whole, and they say beauty's in the eye of the beholder. How do you share your work with individuals so they can also see what you see? Because oftentimes we only see what our minds have perceived us in our lives, in our history, and that's what we only see.
Yeah. See, that one's super tough. I think for artists in particular, we are creating and sharing our world that we see and internalize in our minds always. And to build the bridge and give that back to people when they're looking at the work, I think there's a few different ways that can be interpreted. And that is, one, when people look at it, they just see either something pretty or something very surface level where they're like, that's just shit. I don't like that. Or, like, that is beautiful. I think it's for people to be able to actually find that life in the canvas and find that connection to themselves. I think obviously it's depending on the viewer, but it comes down to I think the story of the artist, the accessibility to the knowledge of the artist, the title, the colors that we use are a big thing as well. And of course, there's ways to put things on canvas that, people look at and they feel it. It's such a language, like music and mathematics and all these like the languages that are out there and unwritten languages. I think it's strictly based upon the individual, but I think as an artist, what I'm trying to say is I think I've been very fortunate to live a life of hardships and beautiful, beautiful moments. And I am able to articulate that onto canvas. And I make sure that I pick my colors accordingly, or my emotion and my energy. That is a big thing, I guess, as well. When you're going into that canvas, if I have something to say that's particular, that resonates with me, like for example, Nightmare, if I'm going in there, I have obviously this certain energy about it. I have a voice that I need to share, which is, for me, it's the movement that I'm throwing into the canvas. I'm not going in there just nicely, like painting something on, taking my time. I'm talking to this canvas. I'm being emotional with it, and I'm allowing myself to let go. Whether that is I heavily drag my trowel across, throw paint at it, splash in certain directions. It's controlled it's controlled very little, but I absolutely know what I'm saying. It's like this crazy invisible dance that you have.
No, it's beautiful. Have you found that with abstract, people oftentimes think, well, I could just do that, scribble on a canvas, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
And it's deeper than that. It is far deeper than that. Is this something that people either get or don't get?
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, for sure it is. Yeah. I think that's a thing I get a lot, actually, is people will look at my abstract work and they'll say, oh, I can do that. But then they'll look at a cartoon and they'll be like, I couldn't do that. And to me, I find that very interesting, because I could teach you how to draw in 20 minutes. I can like guide you through expressing in an abstract way. But abstract is definitely something that people get or people don't. But abstract always, and I could be very wrong, but abstract to me is something that it always makes you feel something.
Yeah.
But people will look at abstract. And if there's people around us, we have an innate ability to want to just blurp something out. We want to say something.
Yeah.
However, abstract is something that if people allow themselves, just give themselves a minute to look at something abstract. And I mean, not all abstract is good, but find like a popular abstract artist, something that is in history, and just look at it, gaze at it. Give yourself an intimate moment to look at an abstract piece of art. You might feel nothing, but I fucking doubt it. I don't see it. Yeah, it's abstract is something that it's intimate, it's personal for you. So it's hard for people to appreciate abstract when there's a lot of people around, because we just generally don't want to allow ourselves to be vulnerable or take some time to actually like gaze, because we're afraid of being judged.
When people purchase your paintings, how do they do so? Do they have to go online? Can they come in person? What is the best way to purchase a painting?
Yeah, so people can like message me online through Instagram or my website, but I'm not very tentative to that, I won't lie. They can also purchase through the dark arts. They can purchase through they can purchase through Allison Thompson, who's one of my art agents. She's absolutely incredible. They can do it through McQueen Agency. Jared, he's my art agent out in Edmonton. They can do it through UDN Art Gallery. They're in Asia. And Art Me Limited, who's in Europe as well. Yeah, I've been really fortunate to have some incredible representation of people that believe in my work and feel my work, which is always important.
It must be such a cool experience to see your work in someone else's home or office. It's just a pretty cool feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the greatest. I didn't think it's going to evolve in the way it has in such a short amount of time. I believe that that we all have a purpose on this earth, and I think I've heard no so many times in my life when I finally found that thing that I wasn't going to accept no at. I put absolutely everything into my art, and I still do that. I work super hard, and I know that this is my purpose on this earth. And seeing people collect my work, going into homes or offices, and seeing that this piece of me, this truth about me that is being loved and appreciated by people, and seeing how it has touched other people, I could, God willing, like, I'm not going to die tomorrow, but if I die tomorrow, I've lived a good life.
Amen to that. What is it exactly about art? Because we've seen an empty canvas with a dot on it go for millions. And you're like,
yeah.
Or there's this blue painting I've seen with just like one line through it.
Yeah.
And it's, Sotheby's or Christie's had it. And I'm like, good Lord.
Yeah. Honestly, I think, I don't really know exactly, but there is things that make art valuable. Like some artists deserve so much more credibility in this world versus a lot of other artists, but that's very subjective as well. But I think obviously in the world we live in today, people are told what to like. People in all situations we're told what to like and what to appreciate, and we overlook a lot of things. I think obviously the story of the artist is so important nowadays, and in a lot of ways can be pretty damning to you, just because the art world is very particular. But I think that if art is going to be valuable and art is going to be good, I want the artist to know that if you're sharing who you are in that most vulnerable way, and you're being pure and you're willing to lay it all out there for the world to see, that's valuable. And somebody's going to see that.
Yeah, so true. For an upcoming artist, how does someone value themselves and their work? Because someone can come up to you and say, Kale, I'll pay you $50 for this. And I'm sure you've had it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And how, people often forget that, well, paint costs a lot of money, time, canvas.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll go to a couple things on that. When it comes to the time, the only way your time is valuable as an artist is if you're doing a commission. Otherwise, it's not valuable, essentially. So if you're doing a commission, your time is valuable and you charge by your time. And then obviously what you're creating as well. So for an artist to build value in their work, essentially, obviously when it comes to gauging your own stuff, gauge it upon what you've been able to do with your career. Like, have you been showing your work in galleries? Have you been picked up by galleries? What's your social reach? And I'm not saying you can be, the world has changed quite a bit as far as that, but if you're doing very well through online sales, that's an outlet. That's a way you can be very successful nowadays. And I know a few artists, Tay being one of them, another local artist here in Calgary, that built an absolutely incredible online presence. And she does very, very well that way. I'm starting to see her branch out into galleries as well now, but don't put yourself in a box with thinking that you have to do things in a traditional way, which is go through gallery representation. You can still do things online. You can do the galleries, you can do markets, whatever you want, whatever is to help get your name out there. But when it comes to putting your market value going up, it takes somebody have to spend that much money on one of your pieces. So you have to be able to value who you are as an artist as you evolve in your career. I remember, I won't name drop the people, but at one point I had representation internationally, and there was a stint where they wanted to value my works at over $40K, which essentially, what ends up happening for that. And that was I ended up doing a commission piece for somebody that I sold for quite a bit of money. That was me taking the shot on myself. I felt very much in a box and isolated. So when you get put into these boxes, when it comes to your value, be smart with it, take your time with it, allow yourself to go through the channels, play around in the different channels for selling your work and valuing your work. Because the second you have hit your work goes to a certain place and it's consistent there, the second you go up too fast, you're fucked. Because you have to have collectors and an audience that want to buy your work. Otherwise, hey, it's really cool that you sold a painting for $10,000. How many people have $10,000 to spend on art?
For real, especially now.
Yeah, especially now. Yeah,
Has that been a struggle to see as an artist, though? The economics of where people are spending their money on essentials versus nice to haves.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not hard, man. Like the idea of the struggling artist is a very real thing.
Oh, yes.
And I tell you, like I struggled for 2 years and like very, obviously like there's a lot more to it, but I decided to be a full-time artist. And that 2 years until I finally until things happened, it sucked.
Oh, yeah.
It really sucked. It was hard. You make choices like about rent and food, borrow money. It's
a grind.
It is a grind, but we're all on a grind, and unfortunately, our art is a thing that is a luxury item at a certain point. So it's really hard to make it through those. And but I firmly believe that we can all agree on this. Like life in general is hard. We're all going to go through hardships and hard shit. It just pick your poison. What do you want to struggle in? I know what I want to struggle in. I'll struggle doing my art because this is who I am. This is me. I don't want to be doing anything else, and I'm not going to do anything else. So I'll take that struggle over anything else on this earth. And now that I've been very fortunate to build a great collector base, and my work is where I want it. To be in this place for me would have been like when I was in hockey, and my dream was to make the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like like I was saying, I could die a happy man tomorrow. I don't want to because I have a lot more painting and things I want to do.
We still need a few more things done.
Right? Yeah, there's still a lot more, but yeah, I pick my poison. Like I choose art.
Before we get going here, what is the best way for someone to get a hold of you in terms of purchasing prints even, or are you doing prints yet?
Yeah, actually, I just started, I'm doing a print or emotive collaboration out in Germany and Poland at this time right now that is exclusive to those guys. So I did think I wanted to do it now out here. So I'm going to do prints because it's a more affordable price point for my work. And I want my work to be, I want everybody to have my work. I want it to be everywhere.
Do you get mainly Calgarians to get your work, or?
No, I've actually had, my collector base is kind of very spread out. My biggest collector currently is in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
I have a collector out in New York. I have one in Florida, Ontario. It's kind of like spread out everywhere. So
I love it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been pretty amazing. And I would say messaging me like through Instagram. And then if there's a particular piece, I have each one of my art dealers will have certain select pieces that I can direct them to. And if they don't have that piece, then I'll just help them personally.
Oh, for sure. Well, thanks so much for doing this, bro.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hopefully it was a good conversation.
It was.